Russia used a captured Ukrainian military base as a launch pad for a deeper invasion. On the morning of July 27, 2025, from a base it had held for years, the Russian army unleashed a brutal assault. 50 tanks, 30 armored vehicles, and 70 suicide drones surged forward, opening a high-tech blitzkrieg designed to smash through Ukraine's defenses. But what Russia didn't know, every step of their advance had been under watch. In front of the armored column wasn't an open road, it was a killing ground, weeks in the making. Spread across 7.7 square kilometers of farmland were more than 4,200 anti-tank mines hidden beneath soil fields and country roads that looked deceptively harmless. Ukraine nearly sabotaged itself. A supply truck veered dangerously close to the minefield. Just a few meters further, and the entire system would have gone off in a catastrophic chain reaction, turning the area into a firestorm. At the last moment, a UAV operator's urgent radio warning stopped the driver less than 2 meters from disaster. Meanwhile, at 6:40 a.m., satellite imagery captured a massive Russian armored column rolling out of Donetsk. This was no reconnaissance patrol, it was a full-scale invasion. T-90 tanks grinding their treads into the dirt, 30 heavy APCs carrying more than 700 infantry moving in a tight wall of steel. Above them, 70 suicide drones streaked forward, each carrying warheads powerful enough to pulverize concrete bunkers. If detected by radar, they were programmed to self-detonate, clearing fiery corridors for the armor behind. For the first time since 2022, Russia had unleashed a fully integrated mechanized assault armor infantry and loitering munitions combined. Ukrainian generals watching from command centers knew instantly this wasn't probing fire. This was the Kremlin's big gamble. Just this single push was estimated to cost over $350 million in equipment and munitions, a wager that could flip the front. But Ukraine wasn't caught off guard. They were waiting. As Russia's column roared toward what it believed was a weak flank, it rolled instead into the trap laid by General Mykola Shevchenko, who had turned farmland into a fortress of steel and explosives. In just 4 minutes, 17 Russian tanks were blown apart. The explosions shook the fields, hurling massive turrets 50 feet into the air. Smoke and fire engulfed the horizon. Overhead, Ukrainian drones streamed live targeting data back to command, where officers triggered electronic detonators at the perfect moment to maximize destruction. Yet war is never flawless. A single logistical mistake nearly ruined everything, a reminder that even the most carefully laid plans can collapse with one misstep. But that day, Ukraine held firm. Russia paid the price. T-90s burned fuel spilled across the farmland, and soldiers fled in panic through choking black smoke. What Moscow had called a steel spearhead had become nothing more than a graveyard of armor. And as the wrecks still burned in the minefield, Ukraine's second wave appeared not from beneath the earth, but from the horizon. At 7:15 a.m., from concealed western positions, Ukraine's 12th Armored Battalion struck. 32 T-84 Oplot tanks charged forward steel, colliding with steel cannons blazing. Behind them, 10 self-propelled howitzers thundered their shells, raining down into Russia's shattered formation. Mobile anti-air batteries rolled out, ready to turn the skies into a net of fire. This was no ordinary battle. This was a three-pronged counterattack, a carefully orchestrated dance of destruction. And in that moment, Ukraine transformed an empty field into the stage of modern warfare where the invader entered only to fall. The ground trembled. Ukrainian tank crews had waited for this moment for months, fueled by battlefield intelligence and hardened by endless attrition. As the surviving Russian tanks tried to rotate their turrets and retreat from the minefield, Ukraine's armored column surged forward like a storm of steel, pushing nearly 45 miles per hour, their guns locked on target. In the first 90 seconds, another 9 Russian tanks were blown apart, reduced to burning wreckage, their crews never uttering a final cry. Above, the sky erupted into chaos. The remaining Russian suicide drones dove at the Ukrainian armor in one desperate attempt to salvage the mission. But this time, Ukraine was ready. On the flanks of the formation, Shkval 6 anti-air rotary cannons unleashed a torrent of firepower, 4,000 rounds per minute. The sound ripped through the air like buzzsaws of death. Drone after drone exploded into fireballs, some detonating just 30 feet above the turrets. The battlefield roared with screaming engines, thunderous cannons, and shrapnel raining from the sky. In under 4 minutes, 47 of the 53 Russian drones were shot down. The rest veered off, course-crashed into empty fields, or were deceived by Ukrainian electronic warfare flooding the skies with false GPS signals. From a ridge 600 meters away, Ukrainian howitzers opened fire. Their shells struck with pinpoint precision, obliterating Russian supply trucks and cutting off medics racing to recover the wounded. A Ukrainian tank commander call sign Vavik, the Wolf, later recalled. They walked straight into hell. We didn't need to chase them. We just lit the fuse. By 7:31 a.m., less than 20 minutes after Russia charged into the kill zone, the battle had flipped completely. The attackers had become prey. But Ukraine was far from finished. Among the burning wreckage, Ukrainian drones spotted a Russian command vehicle, broadcasting encrypted orders, the nerve center of the entire assault. At 7:35 a.m., with Russia's spearhead crippled, 850 Ukrainian infantry troops, who had been lying silently in wait, rose from concealment. These were no ordinary soldiers. Split into 7 fire teams, they included elite snipers, anti-armor units, and electronic warfare specialists. They had been hidden in trenches, abandoned barns, and thick tree lines surrounding the battlefield. The mission had a codename Operation Frost Hook. Its purpose was simple strike once the enemy was disoriented, leaving no chance for recovery. As Russian infantry abandoned their damaged carriers scrambling for cover, Ukraine unleashed its trap. Dozens of RPG-29 rockets fired in rapid succession, shredding command trucks and APCs. One rocket struck an ammunition truck, igniting a fireball 3 stories high, hurling shrapnel hundreds of feet. Simultaneously, Ukrainian snipers with thermal scopes picked off Russian officers trying to rally their men. In just 6 minutes, over 110 Russian soldiers lay dead or incapacitated. The rest broke and ran, some into the woods, others throwing down weapons, crawling for safety. But there was no escape. Hours earlier, Ukraine's 3rd Airborne Scouts had already flanked behind them through drainage tunnels, sealing off every retreat. The Russians ran straight into a wall of machine gun fire. Then came the shock no one expected. Inside a half-collapsed comms vehicle near the southern tree line, Ukrainians found a wounded officer surrounded by maps and satellite gear. A biometric scan confirmed it Colonel Viktor Sionovich, commander of Russia's 42nd Armored Regiment, a key architect of Moscow's southern strategy. He had disguised himself as a wounded conscript, but a sharp-eyed Ukrainian sergeant noticed his spotless officer boots and a GPS wrist device no grunt would carry. Within minutes, Sionovich was restrained, patched up and evacuated by helicopter. On him, encrypted drives, 72-hour battle plans and detailed layouts of fallback positions. Intelligence officers called it the most valuable capture since 2023. By 8:05 a.m., just 85 minutes after Russia launched its offensive, the entire operation had collapsed. 42 armored vehicles destroyed, more than 200 troops dead or captured, and the regimental commander in Ukrainian hands. Ukraine hadn't just survived, they had turned Russia's elite armored assault into its most humiliating defeat in months. From the minefields that swallowed tanks to drones falling like flies to the infantry ambush that tore through their ranks, it was a disaster so complete that even Ukrainian generals admitted Russia had written its own obituary. Moscow went silent. No speeches, no broadcasts. But Western intelligence reported multiple Russian officers under investigation within hours. Whispers of internal fractures spread through Russia's chain of command. Meanwhile, Ukraine did not gloat. In the Mykolaiv field, hospital medics treated both Ukrainian and Russian wounded. One photo went viral, a Ukrainian corporal offering water to a captured Russian conscript, just 19 years old, trembling and burned. This victory wasn't just won by firepower, it was won by strategy, discipline, and above all, humanity in the heart of war. A retired US general remarked, Ukraine didn't win because they had more weapons. They won because they had more wisdom. July 27, 2025 will be remembered not only as a flawless ambush, but as proof that true strength doesn't lie in sheer firepower. It lies in the will to defend your homeland and the humanity in a soldier's heart. This battle will forever stand as Ukraine's message to the world: victory is not about numbers, but about patience, precision, and compassion amid chaos. If this story moved, you give this video a like, subscribe for more frontline analysis, and leave your comment below. Will this victory change the course of the war? Every click, every word you share is a way to honor those who fought and won on that historic day.